The moment happened so fast that it felt unreal, like a scene torn out of a dream and dropped into the middle of an ordinary afternoon. One small sentence, spoken with innocent certainty, cracked open a past that had been buried for years. The air seemed to freeze, the sounds of the street dulled, and a man who had spent a lifetime outrunning his memories felt his entire world stop moving at once. In that instant, the life he had carefully built collided with the life he had lost, and there was no place left to hide. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that even broken paths can still lead us home. He had not planned on being there that day. The small-town market was just a shortcut, a place to grab bread and fruit before picking up his daughter from school. It was an unremarkable place, filled with the soft hum of everyday life, people moving past each other without really seeing. He liked places like that, anonymous, safe, places where the past could not find him. For years he had learned how to disappear in plain sight, how to keep his head down and his heart guarded, how to be present without being known. His daughter walked beside him, her hand wrapped around his fingers, her steps light and unburdened. She was the best thing that had ever happened to him, the reason he woke up every morning determined to be better than he had been before. She knew him only as he was now, steady and gentle, a man who packed lunches and read bedtime stories, a father who tried every day to do right by her. She did not know the man he used to be, the mistakes that had shaped him, the love he had once lost so completely that it had nearly destroyed him. They turned a corner near the flower stalls, and that was when it happened. His daughter stopped walking. Her grip tightened. Her small body leaned forward, her attention fixed on something across the street. He followed her gaze without thinking, and his chest tightened before his mind could catch up. Across the way stood a woman frozen in place, her hands trembling as if she had been struck by lightning. Her face was pale, her eyes wide and wet, and her lips moved silently, forming a name she had not spoken aloud in years. Time did something strange then. It stretched and bent, pulling him backward through memories he had tried so hard to forget. He saw flashes of another life, another version of himself, younger and reckless and deeply in love. He remembered laughter in tiny kitchens, late nights filled with dreams that felt too big to fail, promises whispered in the dark with complete certainty that tomorrow would always come. He also remembered the night everything broke, the choices he made that could not be undone, the silence that followed when words no longer mattered. He had left that town with nothing but guilt in his pockets and regret in his bones. He told himself it was for the best, that walking away was kinder than staying and hurting her again. He built a new life elsewhere, one shaped by responsibility and quiet routines, one that left no room for the past to resurface. When his daughter was born years later, he believed that chapter was finally closed. He believed some doors, once shut, stayed shut forever. But life had other plans. The woman across the street had not expected this either. She had come to the market to buy flowers for her mother's grave, a ritual she kept every year without fail. She had learned how to live with absence, how to carry unanswered questions like scars that never fully healed. She had loved deeply once, trusted completely, and paid the price for it. When he disappeared all those years ago, he took more than his belongings. He took explanations, closure, and a future she had imagined with painful clarity. She had cried his name once, in a moment of raw despair, standing in the rain outside the empty apartment they once shared. No one answered. The echo of her own voice was all she had left. Over time, she stopped waiting. She built walls, focused on survival, and told herself that some people were never meant to stay. Still, there were nights when she wondered if he ever thought of her, if the love they shared had meant as much to him as it had to her. Seeing him now felt like a cruel miracle. Older, changed, real. Her heart recognized him before her mind allowed it. The years fell away in an instant, replaced by a flood of emotion so intense it left her breathless. She did not call out. She did not move. She simply stood there, caught between the urge to run and the fear that he would vanish again if she blinked. He felt the weight of her gaze like a hand on his chest. Guilt surged, sharp and familiar. He wanted to look away, to pretend he had not seen her, to protect the fragile balance of the life he had built. But his daughter's presence grounded him, anchoring him in the present. This was not the same man who had fled years ago. He was a father now, a man who understood consequences, a man who knew that running only left deeper wounds behind. Memories crowded in, not just of love, but of pain. The night he chose fear over honesty. The letter he never sent. The apology he rehearsed but never delivered. He had told himself that enough time would dull the edges, that silence could act as forgiveness. Standing there now, he realized how wrong he had been. Time had not erased anything. It had only made the moment heavier. Around them, the market continued as if nothing extraordinary was happening. Vendors called out prices, people laughed, children ran past chasing pigeons. Life moved forward relentlessly, indifferent to the collision of two souls caught in its path. He felt small in the face of it all, aware that this moment could change everything, or nothing at all, depending on what he chose to do next. He took a step forward, then stopped. Fear clawed at him, whispering that it was too late, that reopening old wounds would only cause more pain. He looked down at his daughter, her eyes bright with curiosity and something else he could not name. She had seen the woman's tears. She had felt the tension shift. Children noticed things adults tried to ignore. In her innocence, she had unknowingly opened a door he had spent years barricading shut. The woman across the street wiped her face, straightened her shoulders, and forced herself to breathe. She told herself she did not need answers anymore. She had survived without them, but her heart argued back, loud and insistent, reminding her that some questions refused to stay buried. Seeing him with a child stirred something unexpected, a mix of sorrow and relief. He had found a way to be better, it seemed. That knowledge hurt, but it also softened something inside her. Neither of them crossed the distance that separated them. Instead, something subtler happened. A silent acknowledgement passed between them, heavy with unspoken words. He nodded once, a gesture filled with apology and regret, and she returned it, her eyes shining with tears that were no longer only about loss. It was not forgiveness, not yet, but it was recognition. It was truth. In that quiet exchange, something shifted. He understood that the past did not have to define him, but it did deserve to be faced. She realized that healing did not always come from answers, but sometimes from being seen. They both carried scars, but scars were proof of survival, not failure. He walked away slowly, his daughter's hands still in his heart pounding with a strange mix of relief and sorrow. He knew he would carry this moment with him for the rest of his life, not as a source of pain, but as a reminder. A reminder that running had cost him deeply, and that staying present, even when it hurt, was the braver choice. She watched them disappear into the crowd, feeling lighter and heavier all at once. The questions remained, but they no longer screamed. They rested quietly, finally acknowledged. She placed the flowers in her basket and continued on, her steps steadier than before. For the first time in years, she felt something close to peace, not because everything had been resolved, but because the truth had finally stepped into the light. Life did not change overnight for either of them. There was no dramatic reunion, no sudden rewriting of history. What changed was internal. He became more honest with himself, more patient, more aware of the impact of his choices. He taught his daughter the value of kindness, of facing mistakes, of offering grace even when it felt undeserved. She, in turn, allowed herself to open up again, to trust slowly, to believe that not all endings were failures. Sometimes the most powerful moments in life are not loud or dramatic. Sometimes they are quiet intersections, brief and imperfect, that leave lasting imprints on the heart. That day at the market was one of those moments, a reminder that the past can resurface when we least expect it, not to punish us, but to teach us. Just before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Please take a moment to comment below and share what this story made you feel, or a moment from your own life when a second chance changed everything for you. And if this story touched your heart, if it made you pause, reflect, or feel a little less alone, please like this video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive, stories that remind us that even when the world seems to stop moving, it is often giving us the chance to truly see,